Caesar, Book 5, Section 36. Quintus Titurius, that is Sabinus, per motus, really upset. He strabos by these events, meaning that he just got double-crossed by Ambiorix. Cum here plus this lovely pluperfect subjunctive is going to be after, or it could be since. Since, from a distance, he had seen, pluperfect subjunctive needs a had, Ambiorix, modified by cohortantem, encouraging suos here, his own troops, his own men. So proof positive that he was lying to Sabinus this whole time. So again, quum plus a pluperfect subjunctive after. Huge fan of that. He sends his own interpreter, Gnaeus Pompeius, ad eum to him, meaning A.E. Sabinus, Ambiorix. Rogatum here is our supine, accusative supine with a verb of motion like miti. He sends him to ask. Now, since to ask someone to do something is more or less an indirect command, thus we have an ut plus a subjunctive following it, ut parcat. So he sends him to ask him, understood, to spare him, meaning Sabinus, the original subject of the sentence, and his soldiers. Parco, by the way, takes a dative object. That's why sibi and militibus are in the dative case. Illa, he, called, or after being called, or after he was called, answered, respondit, perfect tense verb. See, if velit. Now, this is the present subjunctive of the verb volo, to want. So it's in the subjunctive because it's more or less a subordinate clause and direct statement-y kind of thingy. If he wanted to talk with him, licere, it is allowed. Again, indirect statement. This is my indirect statement infinitive. But it's a verb that usually is used impersonally. So therefore, if he wants to talk with him, licet, it is allowed. He may. It's very formal language here, certainly on a battlefield. Indirect statement continuing with this sperare. He said, understood, that he hoped, or hopes, either's fine, which kicks off yet another indirect statement. That, posse, it is able, impetrare here, passive infinitive, to be obtained, to be granted. He said that he hopes that it is able to be granted a multitudine by the whole group, by the whole crowd of attacking Gauls. Quod here is more or less the thing which he hoped was able to be granted. So again, quod, what the thing which related to ad the safety of the soldiers. Indeed, continuing our indirect statement, we have a truly rare sighting. This, gentlemen, is the future passive infinitive. It occurs one time in the entire AP syllabus, and it occurs fewer than the numbers of fingers on my left hand. Therefore, in all of the Latin language that I've seen in the last 20 years. So this is quite unusual, and the fact that it's coming out of Ambiorix's mouth is absolutely weird, or at least remember Caesar's account of Ambiorix. Why do you think that Caesar has Ambiorix use this very old-fashioned and formal speech pattern? He said that indeed nothing, nihil, would be harmed by him himself, dative of agent, with this passive voice form of the infinitive. And he said that interponere, he pledges, so that he, subject accusative, pledges his trust in eam rem in this matter. So he pinky promises that nothing's going to happen during their colloquare, their chance to have a parley. Ille, he, meaning Sabinus, Titurius Sabinus. Cum takes the ablative here. He communicates with the wounded Kata. Remember, Kata got smacked in the face with a flying slingshot, and so I'm not sure how much communication Kata is doing with his jaw being shattered and all. So he communicates with the wounded Kata. If it seemed, this is short for if it seemed like a good idea. Remember, Wede on the passive seemed. If it seemed a good idea, now the ut plus a subjunctive here is kind of like explaining what the seeming is. It's called an ut noun clause. You don't need to know that. Just if it seemed good to depart, pugna, from the fight, ablative of separation, and to, continuing the ut plus the subjunctive, have a chat with ambiorix, una, altogether. He said, again, he hoped that it was able to be obtained ab eo from him, this time meaning ambiorix. Now we've seen this exact thing up here almost, the same word order, the ligere sperare a multitudine impetrare posse. So it's almost, Caesar's putting ambiorix's words directly into Sabinus's mouth. Why do you think that may be? He says that he hopes that it is able to be obtained from him, meaning ambiorix, something concerning his own and his soldiers' safety. Kata, verb of the head, says. Now, nego does mean to deny, but usually when it's used in indexation, it means that he says something isn't going to happen. Kata says that he, meaning Kata, will not go. This is the future participle, imply the SA, the future infinitive of the verb to go, eo ire. He says that he will not go to an armed enemy. And he persists in this, meaning Kata knows that Roman protocol forbid them to have a parley with an armed hostile. And Kata is sticking to his grounds.